Coming to you from our opulent and luxurious 4x8 refurbished broom closet at the national headquarters in Indianapolis. With duct tape studio lights and a mic that you barely can hear, we hope to entertain and educate you. This is the Tango Alpha Lima podcast.
They call me crazy cause I'm facing all my giants. They try to scare me into thinking I can fight it. They tell me I should never even think of trying. But that's just me, I'm gonna live out in defiance.
Hello, and welcome back to the Tango Alpha Lima podcast. I'm your host, Mark Stevie, not from a small broom closet anymore, but from my ginormous office here at the national headquarters with new lights and a new backdrop. It's awesome. And I am joined, as always, by, first of all, Miss Ashley Gabolja-Maldonado. Hello, Ashley.
Hi, Mark.
I hope we do not have any crazy audio stuff going on here. We just had the greatest weird robot voice coming out of Ashley, and Jeff and I looked like we'd been shot. It was spectacular. And of course, we're joined by Jeff Daly of the Hollywood Dailies, who has done all the work on the podcast today, and so will be taking over hosting duties, at least for today. Jeff, I feel confident handing it over to you. No one I'd rather see do it than anyone rather than me. But yes, Jeff, you will be leading us today.
That's exciting because today's episode is pretty special. I wore a tie. I wore red, white, and blue. I wore a Legion cap because it is the day of days. It's the big day here at the American Legion. We're doing our Veterans Day episode. Jarek, insert applause. There you go. He loves
Do we have applause, and do we have
Jarek will do it. He loves it.
Do we have a laugh track?
We probably do, but we'd have to say something funny.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
So it is Veterans Day week, and this year the VA, so that I don't say it wrong, has decided that the theme of it will be the 100-year centennial of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. We're going to talk about how we are going to honor the day later in the episode, so stay tuned for that. And before we get started, before we jump right in, let's hear from the man atop the org chart of the American Legion, our National Commander's Veterans Day address.
At the very least, use this day to thank a veteran. If you're an employer looking for talented workers, hire a veteran. If you're a consumer preparing to make a purchase, shop at a veterans-owned business. To my fellow veterans, let's look out for each other. Communicate and talk. In other words, do a buddy check. Give special attention to our Afghanistan veterans. They are feeling a range of emotions, not unlike what Vietnam veterans felt during the end of that war. Regardless of events or policy outcomes, just understand that America's service members served with honor and nobility.
All right, you can hear that whole thing. It's only 2 minutes and I think 11 or 12 seconds on the legion.org website. If you go there and just search for Veterans Day, you will probably find it. Yeah, I did today, so I was excited about that. And now we're going to go back to that big suite. That's SWEET, then SUITE. That sweet of Mark Seavey, as he will give us a little history lesson.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of a history lesson here, but we are honoring the 100th anniversary of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And for those that aren't aware, the American Legion played a pivotal role in the creation of the Unknown Soldier. In fact, the legislation itself was drafted up by Hamilton Fish, who was one of the founders of the American Legion. But the article itself that I'm going to be addressing here is from Stars and Stripes. Ceremonies in French City mark 100 years of honoring American Unknown Soldier. And again, this is from Stripes. 100 years ago, an Army sergeant looked over 4 caskets draped in American flags inside the city hall here and chose the U.S. soldier who would embody the sacrifice of everything, even his name, to a cause greater than himself. French and American soldiers stood guard that night, never leaving the unknown soldier's side. On Saturday and Sunday, hundreds gathered for a vigil, a military parade, and other ceremonies dedicated to that soldier and the many others he represents. The attendees included current and former guards of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, Gold Star mothers, veterans, military spouses, and onlookers who simply by remembering shared in keeping the legacy of the Unknown Soldier's selection alive. Now, again, this article was in Stars and Stripes. I can't imagine that there's too many people out there listening to this who have not been to the Tomb of the Unknown, but it's a pretty magical place. You've been there, I assume, Jeff. Yes.
I just went though with Boys Nation this past year.
That was the first time you had been there, huh?
Yeah.
And I did want to commend, it's not in this, in our show notes here, but I was sent the article from the American Legion magazine for November, which I have not received my magazine yet, but there's an article about the transportation of the unknown soldier from France to the United States. And the ship basically went through the middle of a hurricane, and they could not get the casket inside the ship for various reasons. They didn't want to tilt it or do anything. So they basically had strapped it down on the deck, and they had a Marine standing guard, but they went into the middle of a hurricane. It is a wild, wild story. It is great history. And they talked about the one guy who basically was guarding it, and he was thinking to himself, if the casket goes overboard, I might as well jump with it. Just a phenomenal, phenomenal story that you absolutely must read. Cannot recommend it more highly enough. But it's in the American Legion magazine this month, and naturally, I don't have a copy of it right here, so I can't even remember the name. But I'm sure, Miss Ashley, could you look it up? I can't remember what the name of the article was.
I got you.
Ashley's there in DC. She gets the magazine before the rest of us.
Yeah, usually I get it fairly quickly, but for some reason I had not received it yet. But either way, you will have no problems locating it in the magazine. It's got a hand drafted graphic with it that was fairly entertaining.
Yep.
There we go. The Unknown Soldier's Stormy Voyage Home. It's quite
Now,
good.
Is that the center, Ashley?
Yes, the center.
All right, so there you just open it at the seam, and you will find
Page
the story.
36.
All right.
Actually, as memory serves, I printed it out and then I lost it in my spacious office here, I guess.
Well, like I said, I was just there with Boys Nation, and I got a pretty cool tour. I got to meet the badge holders and go underneath. And it's interesting that that was the first time I found out that it's one of them's empty, right? Because they figured out who it was. They did.
Yeah, recently the DNA testing identified, and I don't remember, was it Korea?
Super producer Holly is nodding, so we think so. Somebody will correct us, I'm sure.
I think it was, but I thought it was Korea that they had identified. So there's no one in there from Korea, and of course Vietnam. And moving into the current generation, we generally speaking just do it by. It was Vietnam. All right, now Holly is correcting our correction to the correction. So there you go. As Vietnam is now empty.
And now with the DNA testing,
right?
It's not really a thing anymore. But the ceremony was really cool, and not everybody's going to be able to do it, but to hear the talk from the badge holders, I thought Marines were like pretty OCD about things. We ain't got nothing. I mean, the work they do to put that together, what they wear, and the precision that they do it. So I mean, that is 24/7 honoring of all of this, and I'm glad that the VA is really pushing forward with making this a really big deal this year. And we're going to hear more about other people on this screen who are going to be able to participate in that honoring of it. But it was really cool. I don't know, Ashley, how many times have you been there?
A lot.
A lot.
a lot. Too many to quantify or can really come up with a number. I've done special tours. I've been there for specific organizations laying reefs. to pay respects to, also, the Women's Military Memorial is right there, at Arlington Gate. So, I frequent. So.
Oh, okay. I
sorry.
didn't know if that was the end of a sentence.
End thought.
I frequent.
You were waiting for me to just go on a tangent, weren't you?
I was waiting to hear if it was I frequently or just I frequent, and then
I frequent that is a complete sentence.
It's so absolutely. Yeah.
I would love one day, and maybe we'll get the podcast to just send us first class over to France to see it from their side of it. And
oh, sure.
Yeah.
With our advertising budget, how would they not?
They basically have to. So I would have it. Neither of you have seen it over in France, have you? No. But it looks like it's going to be a big deal. I hope we get some footage, or maybe we should call Paris Post 1 and have them cover it for us. That would be awesome. All right. So I think right now we are going to move from this. We're going to go into a break and come back and handle the rest of the show and a special treat from our own Ohioan, Ashley Marie Gorbulja Maldonado.
Delete, delete.
There's nothing better than seeing a child's face light up at Christmas. This year, the American Legion is joining forces with the Marine Corps Reserve Toys for Tots program to make sure that winter supply shortages and price increases don't prevent happy smiles this holiday season. We're concentrating our efforts on areas where there are service gaps that the American Legion can fill. To find out how you can help, visit toysfortots.org/campaigns.
And we're back from that commercial break, and we are so excited to hear about the experience that Ashley Gorbulja Maldonado is going to have.
Yes, so many cool things are happening in Washington, D.C. in regards to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier Centennial commemoration. So there is a unique event that's going to be happening on November 9th, but I digress. The story that I'm going to be kind of talking about is from Vantage Point, which is the VA's official blog. So it's basically entitled Publican Approach Tomb, See Native American Honor Guard. So I'm going to be there. I'm pretty excited about it. What? Snap, crackle, pop. Yep. I'm going to be there. So I know that was real lame, but I did like that cereal as a child. So if I can make a cereal reference, I totally will. Anyway, that's besides the point. I am. So anyway, let's just double digress. Let me double digress down here. So for those of you who weren't aware, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, for the first time in 100 years, is allowing the public to approach the tomb itself and place flowers. So this is really important context for this story that I'm going to share. And it's happening on November 9th. And I think it's 8 a.m. They're going to start with a flower ceremony with representatives from the Crow Nation placing flowers on the tomb. So they're going to end up reciting a pair, or exciting a pair. Oh man.
Close.
Very close. All right. So they're going to be reciting a prayer in honor of Chief Plenty-Coup, who served as a scout in the U.S. Army. So originally, Chief Plenty-Coup was invited by President Warren Harding and was the sole representative of Native Americans for the dedication of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in 1921. He gave a short speech, in his native tongue in honor of the soldier and the occasion, and he ended up placing his war bonnet and coup stick upon the tomb, which are preserved to this day in a display case in Arlington Cemetery. So right before you go out to see, the tomb guard changing, there's an entire exhibit, like a mini curated museum that you can tour and view, which is incredible if you have not seen it. Been there a few times, always learn something new. But the headdress and the stick that he did lay on the tomb is there, preserved beautifully, may I add. So with that being said, this 100th anniversary of the tomb, the Chief Plenty-Coup Honor Guard is traveling from Montana to Arlington National Cemetery. So one of the members of the group of the honor guard, is Marine veteran Ellsworth. Goes ahead. And this gentleman, enlisted at 18, served as a combat engineer, served in Okinawa, Korea, Camp Pendleton in California during his time of service. So Go Ahead said that, it will be the 8th honor, or how do I want to describe this? Said that there will be 8 honor guard members with 6 carrying flags. So this includes the U.S. flag, a single flag for the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, symbolically, and the Crow Nation travel flag. And a Tomb of the Unknown Soldier flag. Oh, and a Montana flag. There's going to be lots of flags, y'all. There's going to be lots of flags, lots of symbolism. And it's going to be a really cool experience. They're going to be, laying a wreath. There's going to be an honor guard and, general performance with traditional ceremony. And they're going to do like a smudge and like a cleanse, purifying themselves. It's going to be a really cool thing to witness. And I'm really excited that I'm going to be there. I signed up for a 9 a.m. slot. So I'm hoping to be one of the first people to pay my
you're 1
respects.
hour after go time, which is awesome.
Yeah. So the first hour that they put it out publicly, I had already signed up for the 9 a.m. slot. So very excited. And then additionally, I've been working on a artwork that I'm hoping to present to the Honor Society of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, as well as the Women's Military Memorial that represents the first African-American woman tomb guard. And I'm really excited about that. So it's going to be a lot of really cool things happening. I'm going to be there. There's lots of events happening in DC. There's going to be the Heroes Parade, all the things. So
Couple quick. First of all, on cereal, my kids are very much into Yucky Charms right now, which is not a thing, but they can't seem to get that name right. Chief Plenty Coup, his actual name was Chillipuck Aseliyish, which is crazy. It's 21 letters long. Oh, wow. It was Buffalo Bull Facing the Wind is his name in Native American, whatever. He was born at Cliffs That Have No Name. That's the name of the place. Chief Plenty Clue, bad dude. Look him up. He is awesome. But as far as this goes, man, that's awesome. I saw you posted it to Facebook right after it happened. I think it's awesome that people are going to actually be able to approach it. I mean, before you had to, join the old guard and go through all the training, and now you can walk. I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
Jeff? I do too. It's I guess it's every 100 years now we're going to get that opportunity. I mean, the only other way besides being in old guard is, if you're in an organization that does the wreath laying. So I got to see that. I didn't get to obviously lay the wreath, but I saw it happening with Boys Nation when I was there, and it affected those kids to be able to do that. And now that it's going to be, I don't know how many people are going to get to do it, but it's obviously a lot more than typical. So I just think it's inserting something into our culture. You're going to have all these people that are that close, and you can actually that going back out. And I hope it reverberates, throughout the country, because we need some of that right now, to bring us back into just to be more rooted and grounded in something that we can all kind of agree upon and come together and bond over. So kudos to you for jumping on that internet quickly, Ashley. And I hope that's amazing in reality. And I'll be interested to hear, because you've been there so many times, if this makes it like being there the first time.
It's going to be next level. If you're not following, the honor or I'm sure I'm not saying the whole name correctly, but it's the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, society. So it's kind of the group of the subgroup of these extraordinary individuals who are past tomb guards or present. And they've been putting out a lot of great information on all their social media channels, like Facebook. I think they've got some videos and stuff up And then they've been collaborating with like the VA, other partners, and they've just been sharing a really great like toolkit, if you will, from a comms media perspective. They've been doing like before and after photos. They've been holding up the photo in like the present like location. And it's just been a really cool campaign to watch. But they've been doing yearly, like they've been doing events all year. Like they've been kicking this off since like, I think like February or March of this year. So every month they've been doing something special, and they're literally recreating the whole thing. It's going to be amazing.
Well, like I said, I'd be interested in how you feel about it, not just the agenda, but I want to know like visceral thing that happens.
Well,
so
I will
sure
be
to talk-
taking, you know,
sure-
you know what? Yeah.
Just call me while you do it. So
I'll FaceTime you. Jeff,
you can't FaceTime me. I'm not in the eye cult. You have to do something that Android
that's
people
right.
can do.
Okay. I will duo call you. Is
There
that a
you go.
thing? Yeah. I
Yeah.
will duo call you. But then I am gonna write a piece on it about my feelings and being involved in that. And I'm hoping you may see that on the website, folks. Just
All right.
saying.
Nice.
All right, I guess introduce myself. So it's my topic now, and this is the only feature topic that's not tomb related. It's about because the American Legion honors veterans in service every day, and we try to take care of our own. We always say I got your 6, but I also want my 12, 3, and 9 covered as well. So that's part of our mission. So this is about 2019S018, which has got everybody excited. That's a resolution. It's resolution number 18 from 2019. It's about the buddy check origin, the Internal Affairs Commission submitted by Internal Affairs Commission, which super boring. I'm not going to read all the whereas, I'll just read the resolved, and then we can get into it. Resolved by the National Executive Committee of the American Legion in regular meeting assembled in Indianapolis, Indiana on May 8 and 9 of 2019, that the process of buddy check be made formal and executed Legion-wide concurrent with the weeks of the American Legion birthday and of Veterans Day. And be it further resolved that the buddy check be promoted through national and department marketing, media, and social media campaigns. And be it further resolved that the buddy check weeks be the primary operational focus of every member, post, department, and the national headquarters. And be it finally resolved that the results of each buddy check week be established as a reportable item on the annual consolidated report. That's awesome. I know we're really doing a push out here in this department in California for posts to really get involved in the buddy check. It's coming up on the holiday season, which is a really tough season for a lot of people, especially people who may not live where their family is, or their family is no longer with us, or anything like that. So I can't push buddy calls hard enough in my case. I mean, it's the chance to make a phone call and actually be a hero. It's super easy. Like a phone call can literally save a life. And while we talk about that, we should also bring up the fact that the Buddy Check Act is going through, and it's another way for Legionnaires and veterans all over, and civilians for that matter, to affect this legislation. There's a voter voice thing. I'm sure that's going to be in the link. It's that was pushed. It was pushed on the website. I don't know about the magazine, but it was pushed in the website as well. And I've seen it on social media from the Legion. And right now, both chambers of Congress have bills that would direct the VA to establish a buddy check week. This would provide educational opportunities, materials, and references for veterans to learn how to conduct personal welfare checks, as well as require increased resources for the Veterans Crisis Line to handle any potential increased usage during the designated week. The bill is modeled after the American Legion's Buddy Check National Week of Calling to connect veterans to better ensure that they receive the care they need. And of course, the American Legion supports this. It was modeled after the work that we do already. So one of those questions that we get all the time is, what do you guys even do? And this is one of the more important things we do. Do you have feelings on that, Mr. Seavey?
No, I do. So it's not a huge surprise that I'm not the most sociable guy of all time. And I also have a fairly significant phone phobia. But I will tell you that just sending a text message, hey, buddy, just doing a buddy check, how you doing, is super easy, even for a guy like me that's not the most social, like to just initiate a conversation with people. I do it fairly often. And I'll be honest, I like it when people do it to me. I don't have the liberty really to talk on the phone for an hour to somebody but it's always nice when you kind of have somebody just initiate conversation just to check on you. And I very much appreciate it. I assume just about everyone else does too. So kind of a big fan of the buddy checks. Ash, you just went, okay, there you go.
Sorry, I was clearing my throat.
I wasn't trying to call you out for muting. I was just like, uh-oh, she's inhaling. We're good. And then there's like, yeah.
No. So buddy checks. So I have benefited directly from buddy checks. I've been very open before that, like, I have struggled with anxiety and depression. And I know that there were definitely some buddy checks during, the pandemic that really, I think, put me in a whole nother headspace, right? And contributed to my overall well-being and being able to really combat a lot of things that I was going through. So I really believe that buddy checks are important. Continue to reach out to the people you love. And sometimes even the loudest people, or sometimes the loneliest people, and sometimes the quietest people are fine, but like, it doesn't matter. Like, just check on them. Yeah, just that's, yeah. I'm not, before I go into a full tangent. Yes.
I should note for the record that I'm kind of half smiling, half over here because I'm watching Holly just repeatedly feed pretzels. And I was like, what a machine she is. Poor Miss Holly on the road trying to do a million things. So I'm kind of goofing on her, but it was so mechanical watching her eat pretzels there that it had made me giggle. So I was not laughing at you, Ashley.
No, never.
No, I was not. At least not
Mark.
this once. I was actually laughing at super producer Holly. So
Well,
are you? I'm sorry, Miss Holly. Are you saying I'm number one? Because I know that. Thank you.
And with that, so that Holly can finish her feast of pretzel, let's go take a quick ad break.
Delete.
Disabled veterans, disadvantaged children, and military families all need American Legion services. And that old car on your property simply needs to go away. Help us help others by donating your car to the American Legion. It's easy, convenient, and tax deductible. Visit legion.careasy.org today or call 844-4LEGION. That's 844-453-4466.
All right, this is our favorite time of the day. This is when we get into pew, 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 rapid fire. All right, our first rapid fire is the White House continues tradition of observing Veteran and Military Families Month throughout November. White House officials last week issued a proclamation extending Veterans Day commemorations throughout all of November, declaring the celebration National Veterans and Military Family Month. I love this. I mean, we have avocado months. We have dogs that got too short a haircut and were embarrassed to go to the dog park month. So I'm glad that we have a Veteran and Military Family Month. What do y'all think?
I think that errors and omissions might come into play here. I'm not actually sure there is dog who got a bad haircut month, but for us, every day is Veterans Day. And generally speaking, I spend Veterans Day by myself, as we will discuss later. I will not be doing that this year, but yeah, obviously we needed a month. I mean, come on, it's had to happen.
I'm just so impressed by your wordsmithing, Jeff. Like, you just throw stuff together. I'm like, what?
We have really missed an opportunity by having me host this show for so long. We're clearly seeing the cream rising to the top here.
No, what typically happens is I'm free to be ridiculous because you can keep the ship together.
This is not being free to be ridiculous. I don't know what this is, but okay.
All right. All right, let's move on. We're on rapid fire number 2. This one came direct from super producer Holly. She wanted us to know that the American Legion GI Bill is at Syracuse University. I think she means the display and all that, not the actual GI Bill, is at Syracuse University for the dedication of the new National Veterans Resource Center. Syracuse University has a rich veterans history, and due to the use of the GI Bill after World War II, went from about 4,000 students to 18,000 students. Wow, you don't have to be a mathematician to know that the GI Bill had a huge effect on Syracuse. And we're looking at super producer Holly with a bunch of apples there. She's there. So
she and I will say Syracuse University, as I noted before, that is peak apple picking country right there. Like I will admit that I've never been a Syracuse University basketball fan, so that would stay to me, but I will without hesitation say that Syracuse University pretty much leads the country in how they deal with veterans on their campus. The I can't remember what it's called, but the center there is absolutely amazing. The people who put out the Perspectives magazine. I am a huge fan of Syracuse University and everything they've done for veterans. And don't taint Syracuse with your view of what New York is all about, because we're talking about this is upstate New York, and it is a wonderful place. So if you happen to be within driving distance, highly recommend you go see it. Super producer Holly and editor Jeff have done a phenomenal job with the GI Bill. The entire presentation is really worth going to see.
It is.
Kudos to Jeff
marvelous.
Stouffer. Isn't he nearby you, super producer?
He is. He's still he's weeping over his Minnesota Vikings. So we got to throw him a few bones so he doesn't jump out the window.
I'm waiting for him to just jump on screen right now, and it's not.
Oh, please, not. We're
Scolding
already
look.
running over.
Right.
You can't
Ashley,
ask him how
oh,
he's doing without a 20-minute soliloquy about something.
We love our folks. We
Jeff
really
is
do. We
Jeff
love our
is the
team.
greatest. There's absolutely nothing bad to
Not
say
the
about
best
Jeff
team
Stouffer.
ever.
Jeff Stouffer.
Stouffer.
Jeff
Yeah.
Stouffer. Yeah.
All right,
Not
Ashley.
the Jeff Daly.
Not as ridiculous as Jeff Daly, but he's still a good man.
Ashley.
We're waiting on you,
Oh,
Chief.
yeah. Oh,
rapid
do I-
fire 3.
Oh, you're not.
Oh,
Ashley
rapid
hasn't said
fire
anything.
3.
All right,
Oh,
we're
I'm
just
sorry.
gonna
Oh,
move
okay,
on.
okay. All right. So this is probably one of the more important rapid fires for all you foodies out there.
Oh.
So military.com, I know the VA, and there's a few other organizations that have been putting out some pretty extensive deals, discounts, and freebies. We got a whole month. It's the holiday season. 'Tis the season. Be eating as much as you can. Carry out, dine in, whatever you got to do. Take the family. But anyway, there's a really great article on military.com. Yeah.
You can
Food
find it
people.
all there.
Deals, all the deals, all the things.
You've said all the things now. I don't know how many things.
Dude, there is a lot
A
of
lot.
things. I actually clicked on the link, and I don't really, it's not my thing. I usually go to like Texas Roadhouse and get their meal, but like I clicked the link. It went on and on and on and on and on. If you want to be a veteran shopper,
Well, I think the goal is to have your VA doctor concerned about your recent weight gain, all from one day of chowing down. I know people that have maps. They eat like 7 meals that day. And I do want to point out that if you do these things, don't make us look bad. Please tip generously, because those people are still working. A lot of states, they're still making tipping wage. That's still a thing, right?
Yep.
Servers don't all make even minimum wage. So please, gratuit. Is that a verb?
I believe it is.
For gratuity? All right. So please gratuit and gratuit well, my friends. Oh, CB, I want you to do rapid fire 4 because it's going to make you the most uncomfortable of all of us to have to make this big announcement.
1,000,000%. Yeah. So the Tango Alpha Lima crew will be hitting the road to New York City for the Veterans Day Parade. We are planning to do some Facebook and Instagram takeovers, get subscribed to email newsletter, track the details, legion.org/Tango Alpha Lima. New York City, always makes me nervous. Being from Boston, lots of people make me nervous. Parades make me nervous. This should be one heck of a show. Yeah. I mean, you're exactly right, Jeff. Nothing CV hates more than attention, and now I have to be in a parade. Spectacular. Can't wait. Looking forward to it.
It's like I'm gonna bring popcorn everywhere I go.
I think I'm blushing just thinking about it now. Like yeah.
So I think it's gonna be really cool. We are still working out like what's gonna happen. So you are gonna want to pay attention to the website. And if you're not a subscriber, I'm saying this early because we got to get it out. Subscribe to that newsletter and you'll find out things like the Facebook and Instagram Live and potential interviews that we're going to do. And in Ashley's words, you can find out all the things. You can find out all the things from an all the thing perspective and standpoint. So we are going to be in New York City, the Big Apple, no relation to the apples behind super producer Holly that none of you can see because we have a privileged view of her apples there. But there she is. So
there's so many apples.
Ashley, do you watch parades? Have you ever seen this on TV?
So I kind of know a lot about parades. I don't know if we have a whole time for this, but short story. When I was in Ohio and in high school, I did this community pageant thing and did it for almost 4 years. And I traveled to 82 cities in Ohio promoting the city I grew up in, which is Brunswick, Ohio. And I got to mentor young women. So a Queen's Court, a Mrs. Court, and a Little's Court. And I did that for 4 years. And I got to be in hundreds of parades.
Wow.
So I'm very familiar with the parade scene. I definitely used to have like boulder shoulder, awesome, like used to be able to really do the wave really well, the princess wave.
Are you going to teach us?
I will definitely teach you, Jeff. There will be some fun Instagram stories following and during and all the things because it's going to be great. We should just do an all the things segment for me because it's that good.
And we will send that through super producer Holly. So now that that's over, does anybody have any shout outs besides myself?
I do have a quick shout out. It's kind of startling. We had as many of you know, went to the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina, and we had a very unfortunate passing of one of my classmates, Jay Hart, a wonderful man there in Charleston, South Carolina. I went down there this past weekend to the Citadel, and shout out to anybody who went to the Citadel, who was going to the Citadel. I will tell you, if you're looking at a college to go to, I had not been back to campus to see my fellow knob mates, as we were called. We were all freshmen together. You called knobs. I hadn't seen them in 30 years. They could not have made me feel more welcome. I was a little anxious seeing people I hadn't seen for 30 years. It was wonderful. I appreciate that. And the other quick shout out is to Brunswick, Ohio, which you need to correct your Wikipedia page because the 3 notable people from Brunswick, Ohio is a cake artist, a professional disc golfer, and an ultra marathon runner. It is shameful that your Wikipedia page has not been edited to add Miss Ashley Gorbolja Maldonado. That is my shout out to the men and women who have gone to the Citadel and to Brunswick, Ohio, and the 4 notable people, the cake artist, the golfer, and the disc golfer, and the ultramarathon runner, and the host of our podcast.
Oh, that's so nice.
There you go.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I can't figure out if that's nice or a slam on Brunswick.
No, it's actually so a slam on my ADHD that I had to look up Brunswick, Ohio.
Mark's in rare form. Let him continue. Proceed.
All right, Ashley, do you have a shout out? Or are you going to wait for your blurb?
For the sake of time, I'll just do my blurb when y'all are good.
All right, I'm going to do a shout out quickly to the West Los Angeles VA and all the activists who worked to get the homeless off of the street. There's a homeless row on the fence of the largest veterans hospital in this country, and it was shameful, but it's being taken care of. They're moving them in with they're going to start, they're still going to be in tents on the inside, but they're going to be actual tents with cots. They're not going to be on the ground anymore. And they're getting into the system so that they can get registered and move on and get in better living conditions and have hopeful futures. So huge shout out to everyone that is making that happen. And it's great for optics and hopefully inspiring other organizations and locations to do similar things. So I love that. All right, Ashley, you don't have a shout out, but you do have something to say.
I do. I always have lots of things to say. This one I have some mixed feelings, so y'all better buckle up. So folks, it's the beginning of the end of something near and dear to us at Tango Alpha Lima. What? Mr. CV, now being situated in his deluxe apartment in the sky, wearing his fancy red cap, is going to be leaving the podcast at the end of season 2. So now,
no time, folks. No time.
No time.
No time for the little people anymore. Okay.
Yeah, I wish. There's no time to sleep, much less do a podcast. So.
Wait, just in case somebody missed the episode where we announced it, what's your new role? I forgot.
National Judge Advocate, folks.
Wait, National Judge Advocate.
National Judge.
Which does not mean if you're a Legionnaire listening to this, I'm your attorney. So please stop sending us emails.
But what it does mean is that he's so busy. If you want to bake a cake with the logo on it, or the logo or the emblem, do it now before.
Thank you, Jeff.
Well, here's the thing. So now, despite this disappointing departure, we are incredibly proud of Mr. CV for all of the things he has accomplished in his long tenure with the American Legion. It is well deserved. And we are going to continue on. And, we have some cool things coming up to wrap up this season. And there will be plenty of CV time left for all of you who are concerned. But the countdown is on for his departure. We wanted to let all of our fans know. So as we look towards life without him, I get emotional. Without him, we will be searching for a new host. Oh, I know. Listen, I know you be messaging my husband. I know.
He's my guy.
I know. But okay. Drum roll, we will be searching for a new host at the beginning of season 3. So if you have what it takes, wink, wink, go to legion.org/Tango Alpha Lima, click on our guest submission and send us a short essay, about 100 words. Tell us why you think you'd be a great host. We're also contemplating, some video submissions, see if you're good on camera, because Jeff and I, we love each other, and we want to make sure that we get the coolest of the cool, because I'm gonna need someone to clean up Jeff's messes. Well, no, that's out of the way.
Jeff, that was the most awkward thing, and it was so spectacular. That was
because I tried to be cool, then poke myself in the eye.
Yeah, but, it was like CSI meets the Three Stooges. It was very well played.
Wow.
I will tell you, and not just because it makes me look good, I choreographed that whole thing.
Good.
So
well done.
Just F Bravo. To the Y to the I, all the letters.
That's why you have an IMDb and I do not.
All right, that's going to be it for today. I hope everybody fills up with Veterans Day free food and put some flags where they will honor people and just comrade. That's not a verb, but enjoy some camaraderie with your fellow Legionnaires and veterans. And while you're there, I can't think of a better way to support the organization that supports veterans every day. So don't forget to subscribe to the Tango Alpha Lima podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find podcasts, and encourage and bully your friends into doing the same. While you're there, don't forget to rate us, preferably with all 5 stars, and leave us a glowing review. You can always send us feedback and love notes to Tango Alpha Lima at legion.org. That is all for today. Tango Alpha Lima, mission complete.
See you guys next week.